Signing of the warrant.
I'll make that motion.
We'll second it.
And I will vote in affirmative as well. Next is the approval of the minutes for June 4th,
Move, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
and I would vote in affirmative as well. Next agenda item is invitation to speak. Is anybody here for invitation to speak? Not seeing anybody. There are no public hearings tonight, so we move on to scheduled appointments. First one is Police Chief Thomas O'Loughlin with his new promotions and hires. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, sorry about that.
It's all right. We just called you.
Have a big crowd. So, as we've done customarily, as we've appointed police officers and we start to have a number of new officers and officers that retire, or promoted, it's an opportunity to come before the board to introduce them, not only to the board, many of them, if not all of them, known to you, but also to introduce them to the community, as these are the police officers that will be serving them in their neighborhoods each and every day. I just want to preface, before I talk about each one of them, the fact that with the support of the Board of Selectmen and town meeting, we removed the department from civil service. And as a result, we're able to hire all of these people local. And interesting enough, the last 5 we hired, we did it in 30 days. That's background, psychological, medical, everything we needed to do in 30 days. Under the old process, it would have been, without a doubt, 6-8 months. So the benefit to the community is we bring back to us people that we trained. They worked with us before. We put them through the academy on a sponsorship. The savings is to the town of Milford. So we're not paying someone to sit in a police academy for 6 months and then paying time and a half on the other side. So it's really worked out well. There were a number of retirements in the past couple of years. We had Sergeant Peter Rizzoli, after serving for 40 years with the Milford Police Department, retired. Sergeant Michael Passacane. Mike served 30 years with the Milford Police Department. He had served in Hopedale prior to that. Officer Alan Bakayaki served here 29 years in Milford as a police officer. And then most recently, Jeff Arteresian just retired, so as of June 15th. And we wish all of those officers well. In response to that, we made promotions we held our own exam, assessment center. So unlike civil service, you didn't have the assessment center. And we promoted Robbie Tassino to the rank of sergeant, Carlos Souza to the rank of sergeant, and now coming up July 1st, we'll see Brian Arasia step up as a sergeant as well. As for the officers, Officer Kevin O'Loughlin, who I'm quite familiar with, he was appointed last July. Prior to his appointment to Milford Police, he served as a police officer with the Westboro Police Department. He did serve here as an auxiliary special officer, attended the MBTA Transit Police Academy. He's presently a sergeant with the U.S. Army National Guard, where he's been for 6 years. He earned a bachelor's degree from criminal justice from Worcester State, and he is a resident of the town of Milford and a graduate of Milford High School. Officer Stephen Souza was appointed at the same time. Prior to his appointment, he also served, he served as a police officer with Hopedale, but he did serve as a dispatcher and auxiliary police officer here in Milford, and we sponsored him through the academy. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice, and likewise, he's a resident of the town of Milford, graduate of Milford High, and I already mentioned his brother, Carlos Souza, who is a sergeant and was a detective and worked his way up the ranks. Officer Elias Jokas was appointed at the same time with the other two back in 2017. Prior to his appointment, he served as a police officer with the Sherburne Police Department. And likewise, he was an auxiliary special here. We sponsored him through the academy. He completed his training at the MBTA Transit Police Academy. He earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from New England College, and he's been a lifelong resident of the town of Milford and a graduate of the high school. Officer Jonathan Branch, who is not with us tonight because he's off with the Marine Corps in the desert, probably having a lot more fun than we are. He was appointed on June 12th. He's not, trust me. He told me about it. So he was appointed June 12th this year. He'll commence service on July 1st. Prior to that, he also served as a police officer with the Hopedale Police Department. He has served here as a special police officer, auxiliary. He, as I said, presently is a Lance Corporal with the Marine Corps Reserves. He has a Bachelor of Science degree from Endicott College, and he's a lifelong resident of the town of Milford and likewise a graduate from Milford High School. Officer Crystal Herron was appointed June 12th. She'll commence service July 1st. Prior to that, she served as a police officer with the Air Police Department. She also served as a dispatcher and auxiliary special here in Milford. She was a dispatcher for a number of years. She completed her police training at the Reading Police Academy. She was sponsored and earned an associate's degree from Southern New Hampshire University. She's a lifelong resident of Milford and a graduate of Milford High School. Officer Brian Hayes was appointed June 12th. He'll commence service July 1st. Prior to his appointment, Brian served as a police officer at the Hopedale Police Department for a number of years. He served with us as a dispatcher for numerous years and as an auxiliary special officer. He completed his training at the Western Massachusetts Police Academy and earned a bachelor's degree from Bridgewater State University in criminal justice. He's a resident of the town of Milford, graduate of Milford High. Brian grew up here in Milford his whole life. Officer Thomas Leung was appointed June 12th. Again, July 1st, he'll commence his service. He served with us as a special police officer. He served in the Westboro Police Department as a police officer. He attended the MBTA Transit Police Academy. He has a bachelor's degree from Westfield State College, University now. He's a graduate of Milford High School. He was a lifelong resident until recent, moved with his brother to the town of Bellingham. But he's still a local lad, and this is where his roots are. Officer Justin Curis was appointed, again, June 12th. He'll commence July 1st. Prior to his appointment, Justin served with us 12 years as a dispatcher. He attended the police academy, again sponsored, in Western Mass, which is quite the drive from here to Springfield every day, back and forth at 5 o'clock in the morning and coming back home at 6 at night. He has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Curry College. He grew up in Grafton. He is now and has been a resident of the town of Milford for a number of years. So happy to bring on the new officers as well as to promote officers who have shown capable skills in moving the department forward. And I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce each of them to the board.
Thank you. Open it to the board. Bill?
Yeah, very impressive group of people, Chief. Accomplished, educated, and I can't help but note the number of people that were 7 of 8 that are currently Milford residents, and the 8th was a resident and a graduate of Milford High School. So, all things being equal, if we have candidates that, compete for these positions and seek these positions, I couldn't ask for more when, we're investing in our own community and investing in our own residents, and they help make decisions and shape the community the way the police department does. So, fine group of people. Wish them a lot of luck. Want you to be safe, and if there's anything you need, It's obviously a chain of command, but don't hesitate to ask selectmen or elected officials. We try to make sure we look for the things and support the things that you've advocated and that your department's advocated for. I feel invested as a member of the Board of Selectmen in your department, and wish you a lot of luck, all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I just want to congratulate Robbie, Carlos, and Brian. Well-deserved, and we're real proud of all three of you. Tom, I wish I could say I was surprised, but you've always had an eye for talent, and you proved that again and again. So I appreciate that, and I love the fact, and I'll echo what Bill said, that they all have real local roots, and I think that's important to know your community. So thank you, good luck, guys, and again, we're always around and available.
Thank you. If I may, it amazes me, as everybody knows, I did 9 years on the school committee, and every year we'd bring the teachers that were retiring back, and I used to sit there and say 36, 37, 38, 32, 30, the commitment to the community. And now I sit here tonight and I look at Peter Rizzoli, 40 years as a police officer. His father, Eddie, I forget how many years he had. Mike Passacane, 30 years. Alan Becchiacchi, 29 years. Jeff Vardaresian, 30 years. The commitment to this community is huge, is huge. And I as well want to say congratulations to Robbie and to Carlos and Brian. Brian and I had a conversation outside in the parking lot, and he said to me, well, we couldn't do it without you three gentlemen. I think it's back at you. We couldn't do what we do every day if we didn't have the support of the Milford Police Department. And, Chief, you and I had a conversation one day. There was a remark made. Somebody said one night, do you really feel safe when you put your head on your pillow every night? Yes, I do. Every single night, because I know that every single one of you is out there protecting all of us. That's a great feeling. So thank you, thank you. To the new recruits, I couldn't agree more. The chief and I talk about, Robbie and I talk about it, it's about community policing. And here's an example of community policing. Almost every single person lives in the community, but has had some experience in the community. And that shows that from your heart, you really care about this community. It's there's an old saying we laugh about. It's a lot easier to handcuff somebody than it is to work with them and try and get them the help that they need or where they really need, the help that they need. And so, to the new officers, I say congratulations. I know you'll all do a great job. Yeah, the three of us will keep you all in our heart every single night. Because as I said to Brian, we're not the guys out on the street every single day putting our lives on the line. And so we want to say thank you. I agree, we're here for you. Anything you need, tell the chief. Chief knows how to get a hold of us. So welcome, great job. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Nice.
Well, Sergeant.
Yeah.
And last, but certainly not least. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to add one thing if I can. It's nothing that we had to hold up the ladies and gentlemen for, but we've raised, through the chief's recommendation, we raised the police department's budget 12.5% at town meeting, and there wasn't 1 ounce of legitimate debate. I mean, you made a case, it was supported. I just wanted to mention that to people watching that. A pretty conservative town, but there was a reason to do that, and it was done, and there was really no debate. I mean, that's, to me, I was very proud of town meeting that night.
And Will, to add to that, they were responding to the board, the community, and nationwide concerns that were legitimate, that were real. So, yeah, there was...
Just a real quick comment, will be in place for the opening of school.
Really?
Good.
Absolutely be ready to go.
Wow.
We've been doing advanced training, people that are recognized worldwide, let alone locally. And I've been able to draw them to come in and provide training. And so those guys, they're going to be up and running without a question.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. Great job. Thank you. Okay, next agenda item is Powerless Incorporated, which is doing business as a tradesman.
I think he's here for something else.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You coming up?
Come on, bro. That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought so.
Nobody knows Paul's
We're jumping the agenda to the,
The tradesman, the one-day license.
Hi, Gene. Hey, gentlemen.
How are you?
Rob.
Okay. Oh, tied broke.
Go ahead, gentlemen.
So the tradesman, has had Labor Day weekend an event where they seek one-day liquor license, and it's the outside back lot. The issues have been minimal. Last year, I think it was one phone call, and Rob, nothing short of cooperative. He and I talked during the day, we talked during the night. There are no issues whatsoever. He does have a police officer there from 1 p.m., so at all times while the venue's open, so 1 p.m. to 1 a.m., and particularly to make sure people cross Route 140 safely. And as the board knows, we cone off areas so that people have a path. He's gone to great lengths of having people park a distance away. He worked out a relationship with a charity that actually will pick people up and bring them back and forth. I think it's $5 or $6 is the fee.
$5 both ways.
So $5 and you get a round trip. And the money goes to a charity. So he's trying to reach out and do all the right things as far as, versus commercial Uber. He did look at Uber and others. He has worked out remote parking with other parking areas in the area. There's no issues as far as identification of people by age. You don't see young people there, to be perfectly honest. He uses a stamp. It's his stamp, so it's not something people can just go and duplicate because he changes it. He's done all the right things as it relates, as I said, to working with his neighbors. Lane's Auto moves vehicles around, opens their lot to him to allow him. So he has a real genuine relationship with his neighbors in use in their facilities. Works with the fire department and the police department. Ingress, egress, there's no issues. The pathways that he creates are wider than are required by fire code. Music and noise complaints, as I said, they're minimal. If I can hear it in my backyard, I call Rob up, because then it's carrying up the hill. And I do go down into the neighborhood, Field Pond, the others, as I do the Portuguese picnic. I personally go down and just get out of my car and stand there. Would I want this in my living room at this level? And it's a point of reasonableness. His hours are reasonable. He does shut down all the music at 11 p.m. now on the dot. We did go one year to 11:03 or 4.
I heard.
Most certainly did. I think that Rob has always been responsible in his dealings with us and cooperative. I really have no issues. He does have police officers that come later in the day, so they're on the ground inside the facility of the event, and it's an appropriate level. He's had no issues as far as in the venue itself. None. He had a medical call, which,
You put that many people together?
yeah, people thought it was something else. It wasn't. The person was actually in medical distress, and it was people attending the event that attended to them and helped them till it was brought to the attention of the police officers and then firefighters responding. So I have absolutely no issues whatsoever that I could present to the board.
Yeah, as you know, the Board of Selectmen have looked at events like this in the past with the primary concern being public safety, quality of life, second to that. And with what you've worked out with Rob and Rob's attentiveness and consideration to the community, we want to be able to hold events. You have bands, you have music events. Milford has a long tradition of having music venues and well-known musicians. Your charity this year is the Friends of the Milford Special Olympics. Great program, great, good things happen there, so I couldn't imagine a better scenario. We know you'll work hard, and, it's always your track record that allows things to go smooth, and for events like this, and your track record speaks for itself, and, I wish you luck. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Rob, I'll echo those comments as well and say that you always run a great event. Haven't missed one yet. I don't plan on missing this one either. And I think it's always a positive, real fun event. You do a great job, and you also, every year, have raised a real sizable amount for charity, which isn't something you have to do, and we appreciate that.
I have a lot of help.
You certainly do. We see them.
I think what's important, Rob, is that, we take the time to say thank you to you, because every single year you make improvements to the process. First year, I remember I wasn't on the board, but I remember by the local news, a little bit rough. But every single year, you keep coming back with the help of the chief and a lot of other people and making improvements. And I was on last year with the new cones going down the side and the guardrails and things like that. So just say thank you, that you understand that it's a two-way street, that, you want to have this great event, you want to raise money for charity. Thank you so much for doing that. But you also understand what the community, is looking for, and you've always been very open to that. So I wish you luck on a great event.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me do it.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you.
And, you mentioned, I didn't know Ray was sitting back there, and Bill, you mentioned local musicians. I mean, Ray looks for highlighting people that are, trying to move their career as far as musicians go. And part of the memo I sent to the board, I just want to highlight that he gives me a list of all the musicians. I Google it, I go on Facebook, I do whatever I can on social media to find out what I can about them. And I find that every one of them are playing in local establishments, here in Milford or in this area. And, they do it because they love it, or they do it because they're trying to move forward in a career. And it's people like, Ray Ozier that highlights these people and working with Rob. So, and many of them are Milford residents, so it's an opportunity. Just on the basic point of, if someone has a concern during the day, simply call the police station, ask them to call me, and I'm happy to call them back, right away and see what their concern is. And I work, as I say, closely with Rob all day long. He has never, ever said to me, yeah, but wait, you have to think about it. No, done. So he is really, really understanding and interested in the concerns of people that live in the general area. As you know, Bill, he moved the stage several years
Yeah.
ago. At one point, he moved it up higher than the sound carried, and he moved it back down, so it gets buffered. So if people do have a concern, it's a simple phone call.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the tradesman's one-day request for September 2nd of this year, 284 West Street. I think that's all that's required for this event. And under the provisions that the chief's guidance and past practice is followed.
I'll second that.
And that includes the live entertainment, correct?
I'm sorry, I saw one request, so it's an application for a one-day liquor license. Let me rephrase that. And the application for
Live entertainment.
live entertainment.
Second.
And I would vote in favor of that as well. Have a great event.
Good luck.
See you there.
You will. Have a good night.
Again, I can't guarantee how late I'll stay, but I'll be there. Take care.
I don't have the stamina I used to have.
Not like Will.
I take a nap first.
Naps are good.
Next agenda item is the finance director for the transfer of funds. Is that you, Tommy?
Yep, Tom's up.
Tommy's going to take care, yeah.
You have the shorter commute.
We'd
right?
like to think you won. but-
Well, I'm getting used to coming now, so. So I'm here tonight to
request a transfer, 33B transferred. It's my understanding in the past there have been many, but we have only two, and these came up post town meeting in May. And if we don't approve these now, we have to wait till, as you know, October. So my first request is Department 122, transfer the sum of $158.34 from general expenses to salaries and wages. It's outlined here. I don't know if you have any questions on that. And the second one would be the fire department transferring the sum of $50,000 from salaries and wages to repair and maintenance equipment. And it is outlined here, and as you see, there is a $100,000 surplus in salaries and wages for the end of the year that we'd like to transfer those funds into the repairs and maintenance fund due to the equipment that came up that it's currently sitting in the auto body shop waiting for payment to finish off the repairs, and it is engine 4, and it's a necessity, and we just can't wait. So we bring it forward to you for the two transfers.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any questions. Everything is laid out very well by the Finance Department. It makes sense, and I don't have any questions, and if the board's so inclined, I can make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the recommendations of the Finance Department with respect to these transfers provided to us at the amount specified in each of the documents.
And I'll second that.
And I vote in favor as well.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Good luck.
Have a good night, Tom.
Thank
Our
you.
last scheduled appointment, Ray Ozier and Joe Callery on our 4th of July parade.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Labor Day show.
Good to see you.
first. I'm not a fan of this Labor Day show.
That voice sounds familiar. I don't know why.
How are you?
Good. Wanted to come and give you guys, if you guys had any questions, give you an update of where we stand, and parade's shaping up very well. We've got close to, if not 40 entries for this parade, so we're looking to have like a good time, and we've raised, besides the money that you guys gifted us, which we greatly appreciate, we've raised at least $5,000 so far. And a lot of it we're just putting right into the parade. And we've got local businesses that have donated, sponsorships from everybody. I mean, we've got Patriots cheerleaders that will be with us and everything. So we're really trying to make this parade like a good entertainment parade. You know, like everyone, like, whoa, that was pretty damn cool. So we just wanted to come up in front of you guys and let you know that we're there.
Yeah.
I think we're done stressing out because now we can't turn back.
You're there.
Now we're like a week away, so it is what it is at this point.
Have you guys had any questions for us?
I was going to say, now that you got the camera, why don't you give some highlights on it?
Let's
Time,
see. Well, 10 a.m., and it's going to run the same route as the Santa Parade. Some of the highlights, we have the cheerleaders, 2 Patriot cheerleaders, one from Oakdale, so that's
Great.
kind of neat. We have a brass band, a 6-piece brass band, professional. We have some stilt walkers and
Jugglers, hula
Jugglers,
hoopers,
hula hoopers.
character people
Yep.
dressed in
Professionals.
Franklin stuff, everything like that. So.
Yep. And then we have 2 musical acts that are actually going to be playing as they're rolling. Shannon Jackman and Tim Bono, who's a young up-and-coming country artist. So that'll be pretty cool. We don't have a lot of fire trucks, right?
A couple.
Yeah, Grafton reached out to us,
Did
which
they?
was
That's
nice,
good.
but I don't know if they're going to do it.
We have Milford is helping out, and I think Hopedale too.
A lot of businesses.
Yep.
We found a lot of people are going away.
Yeah.
But I think, you know what, the first year, I think they want to sit back and see what's going to happen.
I think you'll be surprised at the turnout.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Right. And it's supposed to be nice out too, according to the weather.
Yeah.
A week out,
yeah,
but
real nice, 90.
People are
At
talking.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that bad. But people are talking about it. There's a buzz.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
So, and you know, the way we want to do it too, we want to have like, I hope you're all, I'm sure you're all going to be there for this and everything. So we'll have you guys.
You're stuck with us.
We'll have it spread out. It's not going to be like,
We'll be on the selectmen's
you
float.
there. And then,
Do you have
we're gonna have it all decked out.
No? We can get them in the cars, maybe.
We'll see. We'll see how this meeting goes.
Okay.
No, but I mean, what we really wanted to do is just create something that was really cool, like we've promoted the new tradition. I think the first time around, I think we're actually going to pull it off pretty well. I mean, even with the 2 musical acts that we have, we're going to have them stop in front of town hall, and I think one sings
She's gonna do
Star Spangled
Shannon
Banner,
Jackman, yeah.
or something like that. So we're
She's
trying to get it,
fantastic.
Yeah.
very patriotic and just
Yeah.
balls to the walls.
Yeah.
So.
I can think of no better event than to celebrate our nation's birthday. Why not?
Yep.
And I think you're right. I think, we look at events like Rob's, and this is your first annual. We look at the process of improving each year, and you learn, maybe we won't do that next year, and instead we'll do this differently, and that is a process.
I
And you guys are young guys, so
Yeah, right? What?
do this. You can do this for 40 years in constant state of improvement. No,
I wanted everything to be done in this first one. I'm like, we gotta do this, we have to do that, we have to do that. And then I had to stop myself and think, well, we have
Let's
we have
grow
more
it.
years ahead of us, so we
That's
can
right.
do that. So I'm personally at a comfortable place now where I can say, hey, you know what, it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
And then next year,
No doubt.
it'll be even better.
Yeah.
And,
No doubt.
and kudos to the chief too, because
Yeah.
I know they have a busy night on the 3rd for fireworks and everything, and then the next day they're helping us out, so.
He really did
It goes a
step up.
lot.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes that they're actually to help
Good
out.
community.
Yeah, it's nice how it's the fireworks are the 3rd, and then your parade comes out on the 4th in the morning, and it allows families to really get themselves in the spirit of, to Bill's point, our nation's birthday, and
And the route is lined with flags, thanks
Yeah.
to the
Flags are still
individual
up.
who went out and took
Draper
private
Park
donations.
Looks great.
Yeah, so
So fingers crossed.
it's all put together.
Yeah,
Stars are aligned for you.
that's right.
Awesome. So that's all we wanted. Just wanted to give you guys an update, let you know
All
where
right.
we stand. And
Actually, I
Thank
have a
you.
meeting in the other room.
Yeah, and later on, there's even more checks to accept, so you guys are doing pretty well.
I just want to welcome Joe Calorie to the realm of worrying about the weather.
Another
we
guy
appreciate your
worried
time,
about-
guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks for the update. Good
thanks for
luck.
the update. Okay, next agenda item is the town administrator's report.
Sorry.
Administrator?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A few items tonight. One, the senior center, they will be opening a benefit enrollment center. This will be in partnership with Tri-Valley, Inc. Tri-Valley has been awarded a grant through the National Council on Aging to help eligible individuals identify and apply for benefit programs. To qualify, one must be a Medicare-eligible senior or a person with a disability. You may be eligible for one or more programs, including Medicare Part D Extra Help, Low-Income Subsidy, Medicare Savings Programs, Medicaid, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. Application assistance will be provided for other services as well. This service will be provided the second and fourth Monday of every month from 1 to 4 p.m. beginning July 9th. To make an appointment with a counselor, please call Tri-Valley at 508-949-6640. If you have any questions, you can contact Senior Center Director Sue Clark or myself. This is a program that Sue was trying to get it at the senior center, and now she has succeeded. I'm also happy to report that the Board of Trustees of the Metro West Health Foundation have approved a grant of $12,000 to the Milford Council on Aging for a wellness program, for their wellness program at the senior center. These funds will be used to help continue to pay the wellness trainers to provide training for our seniors. Keeping in tune with the senior center, I think hopefully you have seen, we've installed a metal railing at the senior center to provide protection from the building. You may recall we had an incident where a vehicle struck the left side of that building. Please be advised that this railing is only temporary. It will be replaced with a permanent wood railing. We're also looking into planting shrubbery and/or trees to help green the area and beautify the area. So that will be coming in the future. I'd want to report that we've completed the replacement of the existing wall-mounted heating and cooling units on the first and second floor in Town Hall. We've added the new high-efficiency units. This project is actually the last of the heating unit projects to be completed at Town Hall, so hopefully we're done for quite some time. And then finally, I just want to update the application process for the Human Resources Director closed. We have 23 applications and resumes for this position that was advertised by our town. I've provided copies to each board member and Finance Director Zach Taylor for review. We'll be looking to schedule interviews with candidates this week and next week if needed. Final interviews will be scheduled for the next Selectmen's meeting on July 16th. So we received a very good response to the advertisement for this position. And that's all I have tonight, Mr. Chairman.
There was a lot there. I'm glad you brought up the guardrails, because I didn't want you to miss that. We had concerns over the safety of our employees, those at the senior center. They weren't hypothetical, they were real. If not for a lot of things happening right, I guess, in terms of the building structure, somebody could have been hurt and very nearly was. So good to see that. We want to know, we want the employees to know, we want the town to know that we're prioritizing safety. So I appreciate you bringing that, and it looks like all the right things happening otherwise.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
The only question I have a couple, Rick.
Yep.
Originally, we had talked about putting rocks,
Yeah, I spoke with Scotty, Christopher.
I mean, I like the guardrails
On
better.
that. He recommended the railing. Again, it'll be a wood railing. This is permanent. We wanted to get something in place for the employees to show them that obviously it's important and we don't want to sit on it. Again, that's going to be temporary. Scott thought this would be the better approach. And again, hopefully with shrubbery and or greenery, again, it will look very well also aesthetically, plus provide what the important point of the safety feature.
Right.
But you're right, that was discussed initially.
It's a beautiful building, you want to do it right.
Correct,
Like everything we do in this community.
correct.
And then, nice to see all the applications for the Human Resources Director. That's very
impressive.
positive, very, very positive. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, as we move into old business, the first agenda item in old business is appointments and reappointments.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Being the junior member of your colleagues, I will, I could certainly start reading and then discuss if anything obviously happens. That's generally what we've done. It's still my turn, I suppose.
Rick's.
I did it one year, yes.
did.
I'm happy to defer, though.
Do it again.
Happy to defer.
I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Rochelle Thompson, as the Animal Control Officer.
Move.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Keith Haynes, the Assistant Animal Control Officer.
Move.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Leonard Oliveri as the Fair Housing Director.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint William J. Toohey Jr., Emergency Management Director, and George Cleveland, Deputy Director.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
I would vote in favor of that.
For the Commission on Disability, I'd like to make a motion that Denise Rizzoli fill the vacancy that expires June 30th, 2021, and a motion to reappoint Susan Clark and Rhonda Crosby, both expiring June 30th, 2021.
And that's from the talent bank in which we received information. I'd second.
Correct.
I'd second that.
And I would vote in favor of that as well.
For Community Use Committee, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Jeremy Kernan, Leonard C. Oliveri, and William A. Fertitta Jr., all expiring 6/30/2021.
Second.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
Conservation Commission, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Edward Ross and Robert J. Buckley, both expiring 6/30/2021.
Second.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
For Council on Aging, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Regina Ferreira, Paul Gallagher, and Vincent Squiriari, all expiring 6/30/2021.
Second.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
For Fair Housing Committee, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Leonard Oliveri, John Morty, Alfred Sanacandro, Brian Falk, and Justin Dulac, all expiring 6/30/2019.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I would vote in favor as well.
For Finance Committee, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Robert P. DeVita, Vincenzo Velastro, John A. Tenaro, Jerry D. Hyatt, and Christopher Moran, all expiring June 30th, 2021.
Second.
I would vote in favor as well.
For the Geriatric Authority, I'd like to make a motion that we fill the vacancy with Dr. Joseph Lopes, expiring 6/30/2019.
Second.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Barbara A. Ogier, Tara Kennelly, and David R. Consigli for reappointment to the Geriatric Authority, all expiring 6/30/2021.
Second.
Vote in favor of that as well.
For Historical Commission, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Robert Andriola, Mary Villani, and Marilyn Level, all expiring 6/30/2021.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Vote in favor of that as well.
For the Industrial Development Commission, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Robert Bullock, Ronald Platukis, Matthew Shields, and Gregory Cucino, all expiring 6/30/2021.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
For the Milford Cultural Council, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Charlene Capone, Marco Canero, Tiffany Branco, Vincent Kizo, James Buckley, and Marcy Macri, all expiring 6/30/2021.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
And these have staggering terms because we've received a lot of, we've received a few letters of resignation from the Personnel Board. From the Talent Bank, I'd like to make a motion that we fill the vacancy expiring 6/30/2022 with Tarek Miranda.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
I figured I'd do one of these at a time just
Yeah,
because
that's
of
okay.
vacancy.
Yeah, I just had them laid out a certain way.
Oh, okay. Oh, you did too. All right. I'd like to make a motion to fill the vacancy expiring 6/30/2021 with Harold Rhodes.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
I'd like to make a motion that we fill the vacancy expiring 6/30/2023 with Scott Harrison.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I would respectfully, if we could have some discussion on that. James Doval has been the alternate for a long time. I think he deserves to be moved up, and we could use, fill somebody's, talent bank application into the alternate position. So I could not vote in favor of that.
Yeah, I think there may be other opportunities that I want to bring up in a little bit for that. May allow you to do everything you need to.
So is that a 2-1?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I wanted to make a motion to reappoint James Dorval as the alternate expiring 6/30/2021.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Vote in favor of that.
For registrars of voters, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Donna C. Horrigan, expiring 6/30/2021.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I'd vote in favor of that.
For zoning board of appeals, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint John Dagnes, expiring 6/30/2023.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I'm in favor of that as well.
I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Timothy Walsh, associate number 3, expiring 6/30/2021.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I'd vote in favor of that.
For Milford Youth Commission, I make a motion that we reappoint Sandra Caproni, Amy Tamani, and Brenda Wheelock, all expiring 6/30/2021.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I would vote in favor of that as well.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, along these lines, when we're talking about appointment, I'd like to raise an issue. I've come to learn that resident Dennis Carroll moved and resides in Mendon. Is confirmed. That was confirmed by a member of the media and others. I conferred after finding that out with town council body regarding the process, and I confirmed with him that the Board of Selectmen has the appointing authority and also has the unappointing authority. I confirmed that nothing precludes the board from removing a member if they have a preference for town residents, and that as previously shown in precedent, Attorney Warren Heller resigned when he moved out of town. The town has a history and a tradition of resident preference, as we just saw both by the police department, and another example of that is our legislative body town meeting has a rule that only residents are allowed to speak unless unanimous consent by the body. Something Mr. Carroll has done most recently after moving. So I would move that the Board of Selectmen unappoint Mr. Carroll, thank him for his years of service, invite him to apply for consideration should he move back to the town of Milford. And that's a motion.
I'll second that motion for discussion. Bill, you did mention you talked to town council.
I did.
Okay. And he is living out of town.
Yeah, that's been confirmed in multiple ways, but,
Okay.
and since then his house is sold, so,
Well,
Yeah, I think that the board, one of the things that the residents and town employees have the right to have, residents review their personnel information, their salary structure, seek to make sure that we can attract and retain. But there are a number of examples across our community where we have people volunteer, or people that speak, or people that go to town meeting, and there's always a resident preference, and I have that resident preference, and I put this motion forward to see where the board is.
If I could carry the discussion for a little.
Oh, sure.
As the three of us know, as elected officials, you are allowed to, and I understand that this is an appointed position, but as an elected official, I know for a fact that you are allowed to leave the community but fulfill your term as an elected official.
Yeah, that's set by statute.
Right.
That we have no choice.
Right. The concern that I have is that, and I have no proof of what you're talking about, Bill, and I don't doubt it. The concern that I have is that we're appointing so many new members to the committee. Where is the experience level going to be? Because we've already had some people resign that have a lengthy commitment there. And we have new people coming on board, and it's an important committee. It's an important committee, and I'm very concerned about the experience level. Who is going to be able to set the process and the course for the newer members that were appointed this evening. So
Yeah, and I would look to senior member Persico to help with that. And we have counsel to provide guidance, and we have the unique opportunity this year with the advent of the HR director position coming on board, helping that process. So, I would still say that, when you weigh factors, that certainly having residents make decisions for town residents and town employees is an overriding factor to, length of service, for sure.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if the gentleman is in fact living out of town, then I don't have a problem or need any other information. But as for, we have a letter of resignation we're going to be discussing when we get to the correspondence section, where one of the members obviously recently resigned, and he also spoke, and he's very much a gentleman. And when I was the liaison for the Personnel Board for a year, I was very impressed with Mr. Abrahamson, and he even spoke at town meeting and has spoken in the past about even in recommending abolishing the Personnel Board. But until that conversation ever happens, or until town meeting decides something like that, I think we need to have members on the board in case something does come up. I think the benefit is they did a study recently, so we're not going to be looking for that coming up anytime soon. And but we do need to have bodies there. Hopefully the HR person, we're going to through Rick, we're going to mandate that they have a relationship with the Personnel Board. It is a lot of new members, but again, Teresa is on there. James, I still want there, even an alternate as an advisory role. But again, one of the members that we just appointed tonight was former chairman of the school committee, which is responsible for our biggest budget, biggest policies in town and everything else. So I'm quite confident, considering we've all done that role. We know what it takes.
yeah.
I'm not at all concerned, but I do think we need to just be very cut and dry. If we're going to be appointing people to town boards and committees, they should, in fact, be Milford residents.
I'm sorry, I can't vote in favor of that, because
Okay.
I don't have all the facts. And I think that we need experience there right now. I don't think the timing is good, so
Sure.
I cannot vote in favor of that. 2-1. Thank you. Okay.
Just for clarification, I'm sorry. So, do we still have enough members, or am I missing something?
Down one.
We're down one
Right.
at this point.
So that's what I'm...
I personally, Mr. Chairman, would like to, once this all said, I think we can certainly either go from the talent bank, or we can make a decision at the next meeting.
Okay, I just want to make sure the board was clear
Yeah,
on
we're
that.
aware.
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize, but I
No,
just
no,
want to
no,
make sure
good-
for
good
the
question.
minutes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next agenda item in old business is acceptance of the gifts for the Milford 4th of July parade. Quite a lengthy list. So we've got Crown Supply with a generous $500 donation. Tracy and Becky Daycare with a $50 donation. We've got Milford Power with a $1,000 donation. Yeah. E&J Electric with a $100 donation. Aliva Family with a $100 donation. Doyle Siding, $500 donation. Salon T. Daigle Incorporated, $50 donation. Richard and Joan Powell, $50 donation. And Charles River Bank, $500 donation. So the total now, Rick, is $2,850, correct?
That's correct.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, $2,850.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Very, very generous. So nice to see the local businesses and residents supporting the community.
Yeah, this group is working hard to solicit those donations, and no surprise that some of the great businesses within our community are helping to defray those costs. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we gladly accept the donation of $2,850 from the businesses and groups and families that you mentioned, and send them a letter of thank you for their very generous help.
I'll happily second that.
I would vote in favor of that as well. The next agenda item under old business is the town administrator's evaluation. Rick, I'm not going to read every single category individually.
That's fine.
For the general public, I'll give you a quick synopsis. There's 2 areas that we evaluate, specific tasks and objectives with an annual list, an assessment of general management. How does the town administrator handle the management on the day-to-day operations of the town? I'm proud to say, Rick, that your total evaluation came in at 2.4. 2 is meets expectations, so you're almost halfway above that. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job. You know, areas where you scored really well was, concerns specific knowledge base and operational skills required, such as work practices, policies, and procedures, and technical information. You scored very, very high in that area. I thought was very interesting. You scored very high willingness to do more than what is required. Unfortunately, this day and age, we don't see a lot of that, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Availability for work is scheduled. Accessibility, your door is always open to the people in the community, to 3 of us on the Board of Selectmen. Nice job. Nice job. We all have areas in our day-to-day lives where there's room for improvement, and in these areas you met expectation. So it's still good, still, very,
That's
very
okay.
good.
No.
And we know developing policies and procedures, and we know that the new Human Resources Director is going to be a big help with that. Working with National Grid on the lights, coordinating administrative tasks. Again, in every category, you either met expectation or exceeded expectation in every single category. So, as chairman, again, your total evaluation was a 2.4, which is well above, meeting expectations. And I just want to say congratulations, great job, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate the help of the board and the guidance from the board.
Not an easy task meeting this group's expectations and exceeding those as well.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Rick, you earned it.
Thanks, Rick. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, next agenda item is administrative assistant to the town administrator application process. Rick?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to advertise this week in the Milford Daily News, if I could get the ad in time. I think I could get it in on Friday. In your packet is a copy of the job description that has been approved. Timing, I think we talked last meeting about trying to have someone on board while Jean is still here. I would like that new person to have 2 to possibly 3 weeks tops to go through 2 big areas, one licensing, and the other, payment of bills that Jean is is every week that she
Doing a
has to
great
do.
job with it.
That is not easy, so, and then the myriad of other things that she does. So I'd like to not bring in someone cold if possible, and I think the board was kind enough to allow me that. It's a bit of an aggressive schedule, but I think we can meet it. If we get resumes in by the 17th, the 18th and the 19th, both myself and the board can review all applications. I'd like to try to do interviews on the 23rd and 24th, depending on how many we determine to interview. And then I'd provide recommendations for appointment on July 30th to the board for their appointment. I'm guessing, and typically someone needs a couple of weeks before to maybe separate from an old job, an old position. So if we could get that new person started the second week in August, would leave, I think, 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, to work in conjunction with Jean. I don't see it as a budget issue. We should be fine there. Hoping for a lot of qualified applicants to choose from, because I think, as we all know, she's going to be extremely difficult to replace. But we will do that. So any suggestions from the board, I would welcome.
Sure, I have some thoughts as it relates to the job description.
Yep.
You know, what may be the next Jean, I want to make sure has, we're not going to replace Jean with Jean. And so I want to take the best shot at this, at getting somebody who, as I know everyone here does. So I'm making a suggestion that it's supervisory responsibilities, that we strike the word "not," and that my suggestion is that they may be required to provide supervision to the selectman clerk in the absence of the town administrator. The town administrator goes to conferences, the town administrator goes to task force meetings, the town administrator goes to a lot of places. It doesn't always allow him to just sit in his office. And Rick, through his evaluation, we just saw a great job he's doing pulling a lot of people together, trying to get them to go in the same direction. So I'm going to recommend that we put some supervisory responsibility there. So it's not a gray area, that administrative assistant to the town administrator is senior and can direct the activities of clerical staff within that office. The wording is a little wonky on the education and experience. It says a minimum of a bachelor's degree in public administration. Actually, it's not wonky, but that's not fair. But what I'd like to say is a bachelor's degree is preferred in public administration, or related field preferred 3 to 5 years of office experience and equivalent combination of education and experience. I just want to put the word preferred there, which I think is the intent of the sentence anyway. And that's all I have.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Administration?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the intent.
Yeah, that's what I thought
No,
anyway.
that's not going to be a mandatory requirement.
Where a
Not
candidate
in my
might see it
mind.
preferred, they might read it funny
Yeah.
and say, I can't apply.
Okay,
I've only got 10 years of experience, but I don't have my degree. And
Right,
you
okay.
might want that.
right, okay. I still would like to go out to put the ad in, because I'm going to have to obviously go to Personnel Board to change this, I think, a little bit. They're minor changes,
Yeah.
and I'm comfortable in the interview making clear to
Yeah,
the applicants,
I'm okay with that.
if that's okay with the
I
board.
just asked you to change the wording and,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
If
Thank
the
you.
board is so inclined, I just threw out suggestions.
No, I can certainly, I actually appreciate what you said about the supervisory role. I didn't think of that, but I think that's probably something that's a good thing to move forward with.
I think it codifies something that's probably happening today, so, and if it's not, it could.
And the only other issue I had was saying that, a bachelor's in public administration, but if that's going to mean you have to go back to the personnel board because it's under education experience, then, I don't have that big of a problem with it. I think a minimum of a bachelor's degree, it can be preferred regardless of what the,
It's most definitely, in my mind, preferred.
Yeah, we just clarified.
That's why
question in
I
my
was more
mind.
concerned about
Going
it
in
saying
before
whether
the-
it's in public administration, because by today's standards, a bachelor's degree pretty much says, you can read, you can write, you can, express yourself and things that we need.
Okay.
So, but
Thank you.
if that's what it is in the approved job description, I certainly don't want to stand in the way of, because I would like to see someone also spend time with Jean
Yeah.
prior to her leaving. I think that's
No
invaluable.
problem, and I'll put them before the...
Yeah, so I don't think there's any problem changing the language for publication.
Okay.
And we can work it out with the personnel board. Okay.
That's a great question, Rick. Who actually is second in charge presently under the current system?
Myself, in my absence, Jean has signatory powers.
So it
if I'm
codifies
not-
what we do
If I'm
today.
not there, someone needs to sign the warrant and what
Then that
have
should be
you.
documented.
Yeah, then that
So-
should be,
Jean does have that.
And what it really means is, without having to call the town administrator on, sometimes you call the town administrator because it's a big enough issue, but not having to reset priorities for that day, and they know it's within your scope of authority, and sometimes we have to do that on the fly. Okay.
I have no questions.
Thank you.
Jean, no pressure, but feel free once these changes are made to reapply. I bet you do quite well.
Next agenda item is town council
I'll second that motion.
decertification of the TIFT agreement with St. Gobain Containers Incorporated. Is he coming in?
No, basically, just if I may, just very quickly, as you know, in May, town meeting voted to authorize you to undertake decertification of the property at 1 National Street, which is the subject of a tax increment finance agreement. Basically, his memo is saying to you, he just wants a vote from the board so that he can do what he needs to do to undertake the formal decertification of the property, to put it back on the tax roll. So he's not coming in for this. He'll be in later for something else, but not for this. So just a formal vote by this board to move the process forward.
And Mr. Chairman, with that, and with council's recommendation, I make a motion to decertify the current TIF agreement that exists with St. Gobain Containers, now AKA Ardagh Glass. And the request is based on the fact that they've suspended operations.
And I'll second that.
In favor of that as well.
Yep, that's fine.
Next agenda is new business. First item under new business is the town administrator's awarding of the contract to repair the senior center.
Yes, as you know, we have damage to the senior center. We did solicit 3 quotes. We solicited from 3 different vendors. One who initially gave us an estimate declined to bid, and a second didn't bid. The third did bid, CM Construction Company. The quote amount was $34,400. We have used this company before. We're very confident with them. I also want to just update the board before you vote, is that we have filed a claim. Charles is now in touch with the insurance company for the driver of the vehicle that struck. They came out on Friday to view and the property damage and the like, so we are pursuing a claim here also on
Against the vehicle owner.
That's correct.
Because the driver was
The-
not
the-
licensed.
It's the vehicle owner, correct, the insurance on the vehicle itself. So that is in process also. But my recommendation would ask the board to vote to award the contract to CM Construction Company of Milford.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move that we accept the recommendation of the town administrator and go with the lowest bidder for CM Construction, 1 Rosebud Lane, Milford, Mass., for the amount of $34,400 to repair the senior center.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
And I would vote in favor of that as well. Next agenda item is a 1-day all-alcoholic beverage license for the Macajano Club for July 3rd, the evening of the Milford fireworks, between the hours of Stake Brick 8 a.m. to 1 a.m.
Yeah, it must be, yeah, it must be 8 PM, or if that's, yeah. I'll double check that, but.
Well, it's probably 8 a.m. July 3rd, right, to 1 a.m. July 4th?
Well, could be, yeah.
All day?
Just like
Yeah,
a
I think
restaurant,
you're
yeah.
right.
It usually is. It
Yeah, I think
usually
you're right.
goes pretty
Yes,
late.
Yeah,
So it's an all-day?
it's an all day, yeah, you're right.
Move, Mr. Chairman?
Seconded?
Thank
Vote
you.
in favor of that as well. Next agenda item is the Brookside PTO request to waive the permit fee.
Yeah, that's a $91 permit fee waived for the purposes of Brookside, setting up an outdoor classroom. So it makes sense that we waive permit fees for people who are furthering education and setting up a new classroom opportunity for the town.
Second that?
I vote in favor of that as well. Next is Police Chief, traffic aid for Forest Street. We have a letter here from the Police Chief in response to your email, and the email request from Jessica Lynn of 15 Forest Street. I went to Forest Street between Grove Street and South Main Street to observe the parking and traffic conditions. The width of Forest Street in this area is very narrow, allowing for only 2 travel lanes, and the length is short. There are 7 residences on this section of Forest Street. Presently, parking is allowed on both sides of the street, creating somewhat of a maze if the vehicles park on both sides of the street. It is my understanding that the residents have indicated that they believe that the roadway is too narrow to allow parking on both sides of the street, and that they have had difficulty entering and exiting their driveways, and they are also concerned about the ability of drivers to safely navigate their way around parked vehicles. Based upon my observations, I agree. I'm also very concerned that the response of emergency vehicles to this area might be hindered by the vehicles parked on both sides of the street. Although the residents recommended prohibiting parking on both sides of Forest Street, I will recommend the Board of Selectmen authorizing a no parking tow zone only on the southerly curb eastbound line side from South Main Street to Grove Street. These signs could be placed on the existing telephone poles. Questions, please contact me. Sincerely, Thomas O'Loughlin, Chief of Police.
Yeah, I'd vote to accept the recommendations of the police chief in the interest of public safety and erect the signs as stated on the chief's memo.
And I second that?
All in favor of that as well? Next agenda item is Town Clerk, referencing purchasing of new electric equipment. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 54, Section 34, I respectfully ask the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Milford to vote to discontinue the use of the current Q vote tabulator and precinct bundles purchased from LHS Associates Incorporated. In addition, to vote to approve the purchase of 9 image cache precinct bundles from LHS Associates at least 120 days in advance of the first election. The new equipment would be used. The funding for the 9 new tabulators and precinct bundles was approved unanimously through Article 16 at May 14, 2018 annual town meeting. The new machines would not be used 120 days before any elections. The first election we anticipate the equipment to be used at would be on November 6, 2018 election. I respectfully request a copy of the above votes to be provided to me so I can inform the Secretary of the Commonwealth within 5 days of the determination of the vote.
I'd move, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
I would vote in favor of it as well. Next agenda item is Milford Community Programs permit to instruct for Milford Special Olympics.
I'll move, Mr. Chairman. That's a road race that's gone for years, and the
Yeah.
police chief has reviewed it. And
Yeah.
I'll second that.
I will also vote in favor of that. Milford Fire Department permit to obstruct for the toll road.
I'd move, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
I will vote in favor of that. Looks like I have an extra one here, Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the add-on,
Okay.
Italian-American vets,
Yep,
so it
okay.
was a little late getting to us.
Yep. So this is a all-day alcoholic beverage license for the Italian-American War veterans on 4 Haywood Field. It's, again, July 3rd, on the grounds of the Post, between the hours of, I'll take it to be 3 p.m.
Yes.
to 10:30 p.m. Again, it's the night of the fireworks. July 3rd.
Great.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd move that we accept the request from the Italian-American War Veterans for an all-alcoholic beverage license on the grounds of Post 40 between the hours of 3 to 10:30 p.m.
I'll second that.
And I would vote in favor as well. Okay, next agenda item is correspondence.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
just, if I might, I had an item of
I'm
new
sorry.
business. Yeah, I think with the decertification of the RDOG group and them ceasing operations, what I'd like to request is that the board appoint a liaison to work with RDOG Glass and their representatives, as well as any other interested parties to determine what, if any, economic development opportunities exist at that location. And I'd like to volunteer for that liaison position to help facilitate that if there's any way possible that we can help, and report back to the board if there are opportunities.
I certainly have no problem with that, and and I appreciate you volunteering for that. Do you have any, obviously you have my support, but do you think this would be also a place for the IDC and some other groups to come in if necessary, you think?
Yeah, what I'd like to do is see what plays out over the course of the next few months, to see what opportunities exist, make contact, and then bring in resources, whether they be town planning, whether they be IDC. I can think of a host of things. I can see possibly working with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, State Economic Development Board, and a host of other people we may be able to bring in and solicit from our state rep and state senator. I could see those individuals being involved too. So, yeah, I'd request that we create that liaison position, and that my motion is that I'll volunteer for that.
If it makes sense, I'll make, do you want me to make it, or?
Please.
Or second, I certainly make a motion to appoint, Bill Buckley, the Selectmen's liaison to the RDOG group.
I would second that and vote in favor as well.
Thank you. Maybe we can get something done over there.
There is some activity going on.
Good, good.
Yeah. Bill, do you have any, I'm sorry,
No, I don't have any new business.
okay.
Thank you.
Neither do I. If I could, Rick, just back up for 1 second. I'm
Sure.
sorry, I skipped over. I did have something for old business.
Sure.
Can you just, for our next meeting, it's kind of my pet peeve, get me an update on what's going on with the old Gibbs gas
Sure.
station? You and I had a conversation. You told me that you had written a letter to the owner. He was very responsive. He had gotten back to you, and he stated that he had made arrangements with Arts to have vehicles towed.
Correct.
Every night I'm going home.
Okay.
There's cars there, there's tractor trailers there, and I understand the tractor trailers are in there probably catching a quick, little bit of sleep before they head out again. But, again, it's one of the first major intersections you come into town. It's just an eyesore. So I'd like to know what his, what are his ultimate plans, because we're not going away,
Right.
okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, first item on correspondence is letter of resignation from the Personnel Board.
And that's from Charles Abrahamson.
Charles Abraham.
And I would recommend, Mr. Chairman, that we, obviously send him a letter, letting him know we appreciate, this board appreciates his years of service to the community of Milford, and accept with regret his resignation.
Certainly second that.
And I would vote in favor of that. And Rick, you'll make sure that a
Yes, we take care.
letter or a thank you letter
Yes.
goes out to Mr.
Yes, we
Abrams
will.
for his many, many years of service.
Yep.
Next is Department of Inspections interdepartmental pre-application routing slip.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, Town Planner Larry Duncan and Building Commissioner Matt Marquardt, this is something that was talked about to hopefully streamline the building permit process, to make it easier for contractors, commercial vendors, et cetera, to come in, and they worked together, and then also spoke with other departments to see. So if you look, it's a checklist very similar to what we use for the licensing process, so that when someone comes in, if they can take care of all of these issues, they will know that they're ready to go, and there'll be no remaining issues. So it's something that they put together. I wanted to present it to the board so that you could take a look at it. Don't necessarily have to give any comments tonight. But again, it's something they both worked on, and I thank them for their efforts. But again, it's to make it more friendly for the developer, more friendly for the subcontractor coming in for a permit for a deck or what have you. So this is something they put together that they think will make it easier. And also easier for town departments, too, to know, to connect with one another on a particular permit. So, again, for your input, for your consideration, I just wanted you to see it, to see what they worked on.
I also note, Rick, just on top of that, that it may be easier for the applicant, and I would suspect it would, because you're less likely to have to recall what you were told in what appears sometimes as a maze of government activity, what you're required. Do you need a grading plan? Do you need a special permit? Do you
Correct.
need the ZBA there?
Yeah.
And, that's the path to yes. It's, if you get these, this is how you get to yes.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I can imagine people looking for permits for relatively minor changes in their property and remembering half the conversation.
Right.
Not unlike my trip to the doctor sometimes when I remember half the conversation, so, and recommendations. So this is good. I think in nothing else it evolves, right? So if we find out an aspect of this routing slip is not working, we can change it.
Right, this is not something that's fixed in
Not cast
stone,
in
so.
concrete.
yeah.
This is a tool they're gonna use.
Yeah, and I think I like it because I can see where other departments are, personally, myself.
Yeah.
So I think
Streamline
it's
the
an
process.
educational tool for me.
Speed up the process. We're gonna be
That's the
plenty
goal,
busy.
time and speed and friendliness, cooperation, I should say.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, if I can add, this is something that came up in that all boards meeting.
Yes, that's
And,
great.
I'm glad to see that we stayed on course here. So this answers quite a few people's concerns around the table, as well as streamlining for the customer, and, occupancy permits and other things like that should not be going out unless all
Right.
the Ts are crossed and all the Is are dotted, and that hasn't been the case in the past, and I think this is a good step forward. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, and a thank to Larry and Matt.
Does that require a vote from us, Rick?
No, I just wanted you to see it. If you had any recommendations, certainly we'd be interested. And as it evolves, as Bill said, if you do, then we can discuss them, yeah. But no, I don't need a vote, no.
And then we have another letter of resignation. This is from a member of the Commission on Disability. Teresa, forgive me, Gracefa?
Rasefa, I believe it is, yeah.
Rasefa. I've enjoyed being part of the Commission on Disability, and thank you for all that you have done with the team. Brought defined process and several new, very involved committee members. It's great to see and a wonderful resource for Milford residents. Personal and work responsibility have negatively impacted my ability, and I've missed many meetings. My stepping down will allow you to fill my seat with someone who can help your team move forward. Please accept my stepping down effective today, June 15, 2018. We're a little late. I wish you continued luck with the team and all that you have done for those who need these resources. Thank you very much, Teresa. And again, Rick, if you could get
Yes,
thank you letter out.
we will definitely.
And move to accept with regret that resignation.
And I'll second that.
And I would vote in favor of that as well. Does anybody have anything else?
I do not.
We do have an executive session tonight. It's to discuss the beginning of the police / collective bargaining. That does require a roll call vote.
Aye?
I will vote aye, but I will not be participating due to a conflict of interest.
Okay. Aye as well. We will be leaving regular session and will not be returning to regular session this evening. A motion to adjourn,
I'll move to adjourn regular session.
Second that.
and I would vote in favor as well. Good night, everybody. Have a safe weekend.